Welcome back to the Mind of Matter channel. You're joining us on another trail ride hosted by Southern Wisconsin Guided Trail Rides. However, no sooner did we arrive that we had a problem with the Yamaha XT250 we brought. The front inner tube had sprung a leak, fix-it-flat didn't work, we couldn't get it to seal. So I loaded up the Yamaha, drove all the way back for 55 minutes to Highland, Wisconsin, got our red Honda XL250S that you've seen in other videos, loaded that back, came back again to Middleton, Wisconsin, and started the trail ride finally. The group hosting this event, Southern Wisconsin Guided Trail Rides, has been around for a while, and we've participated in several of their events over the years. I like their events because they're well run, well organized, the signage on the trails is excellent. Dan does a great job along with the other volunteers to keep these going, and I'm a big fan and participant of these events. Once I got the Honda back going again, I waited for any group to show up. It wasn't necessarily my assigned run group, but this group had a mix of ATVs, side-by-sides, and dirt bikes, so I figured it'd be a pretty good speed for me since I'm still considering myself an amateur rider. And I quickly latched onto the back of their group and followed them around the second majority part of the course. You'll probably remember this Honda XL250S from other videos I had on the channel. We've had the bike a long time, my brother-in-law and I. We've had it running, we've had it broken, we've got it running again, it dies again over the years, and we've got it running again pretty well. I'll do a little walk around of the bike later, but for now just know that it's running pretty reliably and it has 2 inflated tires on it, unlike the Yamaha, so that's a big plus there. Meanwhile, my brother-in-law is elsewhere on the trail, since he didn't have to go back to Highland to get the other bike. He's on his new to him KTM. It's about a 2016 250 XC, I believe. I'll tell you more about that later. For now, enjoy the sounds of the single-cylinder XL250S, and I'll join back up with you here with some commentary around the 5-minute mark. Here we are pulling into the first major break of the morning. We're about halfway done one single lap of this course. Another reason I love this group is their routes are pretty lengthy. Considering that the organization has to lobby and partner with a whole bunch of private landowners in the area, they do a fantastic job in getting long distances set up for the trails. And I'm an amateur rider, and I get pretty tired even just after one lap. They're so lengthy. So this break was very welcome. You can also see some of the other vehicles that have come out for the day. You see dirt bikes, of course, side-by-sides, ATVs, mini dirt bikes, even some kids riding. So it's a pretty good variety of folks and a fantastic set of people to get to know. Just a little bit more on this Honda I'm riding. I know it's just the backup bike for today, but my brother-in-law Joel and I really like this bike. We've had it for a long time, and it has been through a lot. It got me back into riding after years of being absent from it. I really enjoy the fact that this bike is low, easy to ride, super comfortable, almost a luxurious ride quality, kind of soft, probably too soft, and especially for my 215-pound frame. But it's really easy to ride, and it's just so relaxing, to be honest. It's lightweight, and the sound is fantastic with the Super Trap muffler, especially when you consider that there's a big exhaust leak in the side, and all of a sudden I've got even more exhaust volume than originally intended by the manufacturers of this bike. Still, it's a great bike to ride. I love taking it out, and even though the tires are hard and getting a little bald, it still grips pretty well, and it's still plenty of fun to ride. Just needs a little work on the carburetor, and we also need to get one of the elusive exhaust manifolds that are so hard to find on these bikes these days. As we wrap up the break here, I'll leave you with some footage and sounds of some of the machines headed out of this break area, and I'll join you again around the 9-minute mark. Well, I wasn't the only one with tire problems today. One of the side-by-sides did spring a leak, unfortunately, but thankfully it was addressed very near a gas station. I think one of the guides for our group was able to plug it with his plugging kit. That worked pretty quickly, so credit to him and the owner for getting that done quickly. Once it was plugged, you'll see the side-by-side drive away to the gas station, which was literally within sight. I pointed out here on the camera. With that tire filled up again and plugged, we came back, and with very little delay at all to the group, we were able to continue on no problem. I also want to point out that this is just one example of many of people offering help and supporting each other on these rides. So I really want to thank everyone who comes to these events and the organizers as well for creating such a community and friendly atmosphere for all riders. At this point, we had wrapped up the first lap of the tour, and we eventually pulled back into the pits. Meanwhile, I'm looking for my brother on the KTM, who is in another group somewhere else since we got separated early on with the bike breakdown. And at this point, I'm going through the pits, checking out the other machines, and I finally found him waiting here at the truck along with two other friends. We really lucked out with the weather today. It was almost 80 degrees here at the end of October in Wisconsin, so we were blown away by the luck there. Despite that, we were ready for a break, and thankfully it was lunchtime. As usual, a local nonprofit charity group was able to cook us some brats, hamburgers, hot dogs, that sort of thing, and provide it to us for lunch at a small cost. We were really happy to see there was also a lot of homemade desserts, and that was a welcome treat as well. Well, after lunch is when the real mechanical problems started coming up as well. The KTM would cut out and break up a little bit here and there, and we couldn't figure out why. Before I get into all that, let me tell you a bit about this KTM bike. My brother-in-law recently picked up this new-to-him bike. It's a 2016 or so KTM 250XE, I believe. Carbureted 4-stroke, but it does have some problems. When he got it, it was a little hard to start, and it's never really improved, probably because we haven't done much about it. We've played with the carburetor and the mixture and stuff, but honestly, we don't really know what we're doing when it comes to carburetors, so it's pretty much guesswork for us. Throughout the trip this morning, it was a little rough and running not so great, and combine that with some of the other problems it's come with, it wasn't a super relaxing or comfortable ride for Joel. Not only is there the running problem, but the clutch cable lever binds occasionally. It's very loose and floppy, and occasionally the cable just sticks, so you can't pull the clutch in, which is pretty worrisome if you're in gear and moving and trying to stop. The brake lever, not helping either, is the Kickstarter, which as you kick down on it, it hits the step. The peg that you're supposed to put your foot on should not interfere with the Kickstarter. I don't know what Kickstarter lever is on there, but I'm guessing it's not factory because it doesn't let you to get the full travel of the Kickstarter all the way down. That doesn't help with starting either. So throughout the afternoon, it would run for a bit, and then something would cause us to have to stop. For example, here in the footage, a guy pulled out in front of me without really looking. I had to lock up the rear tire, and all of a sudden the engine stalled again, and we spent another 4 minutes trying to get it started. This is a pretty repetitive thing throughout the afternoon. I'll try not to provide all the footage of us trying to get this KTM started every single time. Occasionally we would try to push start it or roll it down a hill and bump start it that way, so that helped a lot. But if we're on a flat part or there's no downhills around, then unfortunately we're just stuck kickstarting it, and that was more exhausting than the riding, to be honest. Eventually we got it going again, and as I was riding it around, I was able to just keep the throttle up a little bit, stop it from stalling, and never let it idle, and do my best not to stall it. Of course, in some of the slower sections, me keeping the throttle on all the time caused it to start to overheat briefly, but we got it going again right away and just cooled it off on some long straightaways. So overall, it's a fun bike to ride, super stiff suspension, really hard seat. This is a motocross bike, it is not an enduro bike. We know that now. And so it's not exactly comfortable or confidence inspiring for people of our skill level. Still, the power and speed of this thing is pretty amazing, so I like it for that. Here we are in the second lap around the entire course. It's worth noting that while the full course would take probably an hour and a half or something like that, at least at my skill level, the shorter course available is about half that. You can do a half lap instead and not have to commit to the full course if you want. There's also portions that I like more than others, and since there's loops that allow you to circle back around on and kind of follow your tail a little bit, you can go down into like a really low wet creek if you want and do that lap a few times, which is particularly fun. So my point is, while yes, you're supposed to stick with the group, and we did, occasionally if you get separated or dropped from the group by accident, then you can have the option to go back to an area you'd prefer and try to catch up with the group that way. Here we are headed home and visiting a nearby watering hole in Spring Green, Wisconsin to rest our aching muscles and have some prescribed alcoholic beverages to help with that. Thanks for watching, and hope you can join us soon.